Test.
All right, so let's get started with the panel. I'm not going to introduce you guys. I'm going to let you do this for me. So I can start with Leonard from peaq.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here. And indeed, it's amazing to see how many DePIN events there are this year, and everyone knows what it stands for. I'm Leonard, one of the co-founders of peaq, and peaq is a layer 1 blockchain for DePIN. And yeah, super excited to discuss with all of you.
Hi everybody, my name is Kai. I'm the founder of Impossible Cloud Networks. We build a decentralized cloud, decentralized AWS. So it's really about building something massive scale, bringing mass adoption from the Web 2 world to Web 3. I have done this before, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. My previous company was a gaming company. We had around 1,400 people, more than $1 billion revenue. I reversed IPO to the NASDAQ, so lots of M&A, capital markets experience there. And I was always amazed about the big tech in the valley, how they build it, very close connections to Google, Facebook, and these companies. And I thought we can build a cloud in a better way, in a more decentral way. And that's why we started with Impossible Cloud, bringing real world revenue there. Last week we closed a 7-digit ARR deal, another one with enterprise customers. They all run on decentral systems, decentral hardware, and that's what we're going to build in the future.
Hey everyone, my name is Larry, part of the founding team at IoTeX. IoTeX is a layer 1 blockchain. We take like a modular approach to providing infrastructure for DePIN builders. We do things around device identities, we do things around off-chain compute using zero-knowledge proofs for DePIN data, and we service all different types of verticals across the DePIN sector. So just want to say thank you to Accurast, to peaq, to the DePIN Association for bringing us here today, and excited for the panel.
Hi everyone, I'm Ranvir. I'm the co-founder of Witness Chain. At Witness Chain, what we are building is a consensus layer for physical state. This can be used in DePINs to verify physical attributes for your assets. And once you have verification, you can now trust and coordinate across DePINs and multiple other financial platforms.
Nice, thank you. So I want to get started with Leonard. First of all, congratulations on the Genesis event yesterday. I know that you guys have been building for quite some time. It's not just like peaq just started, right? Maybe if you can do like a quick TLDR about where you guys started and what do you think that excites you so much about DePIN and where peaq actually exceeds in this ecosystem.
Yeah, so this is like when we go back and how we started building peaq is really looking at which problems can be solved with Web3. That was back in 2017 when we built like enterprise IoT blockchain networks because we wanted to see which business cases there are. And in the process we realized that all of those applications kind of need the same functionality, be it identities for machines, access control, payment, data verification, and so on and so on. And also enterprise networks don't make sense because they are centralized and they don't disrupt anything. And this led us then to start building peaq in 2021 as a layer 1 for what we call the economy of things. And the beautiful thing is 1.5 years later, the term DePIN emerged, and we've been building a layer 1 for DePIN all along. And the reason it's important is if you think of a smart city, for example, this can only really function in the future where you have machines everywhere and devices when this happens on an open system. Because if it runs on Web 2 platforms, you have closed systems and all the machines and devices, they can't identify each other, they can't transact with each other. And more importantly, it's important to change the trajectory of the age of automation, because if it happens on Web 2, a few big companies make all the money with the autonomous revenue-generating machines. And DePIN changes that trajectory and enables everyone to earn from physical infrastructure and autonomous machines. And yeah, this is why we're super excited. And in terms of what we do at peaq, it's really trying to be of the most service possible to all the DePINs, like solving the problems on a product, on a technical level, on an ecosystem and adoption level. And yeah, this is, we're super excited to have 50 DePINs building on peaq prior to launch.
LFG, thanks so much for the intro. I think it's super, super exciting. And I really like how this, like, you know, the machines need to talk to the machines in a decentralized way, and then peaq is actually enabling that. So the next question, actually, I'm going to go to Ranvir here. I know that witness chain is developing the coordination layer for DePIN, right? What is the main pain points that this solves, and what are your main pain points to build it?
Great, two-sided question. So what we are building, we call it coordination layer because trust is the basis of coordination. In Ethereum, one smart contract can trust another smart contract because Ethereum is the base trust layer. If you look at physical infrastructure, you need that same trust brokering service for coordination with physical assets. Right? So what we are building is a watchtower network. This watchtower network runs protocols like proof of location, proof of bandwidth, proof of compute to make sure that like whatever DePIN is saying is actually correct. Now, the first fundamental use case for this is, you know, when you want to bootstrap a physical infrastructure network, you want to distribute your rewards fairly to your participants. You want gaming resistance, and that's why like you would use this to start with. But once you have crossed this step, let's say you want to build a supply chain of a service. Let's say I'm watching Netflix. It uses a storage provider, a CDN, somebody for connectivity, somebody for actually transferring it on a cellular level on my phone. So there are a lot of infrastructure involved in providing a service. And for them to work together, they need to trust one another. And through our proofs, multiple DePINs can work together. Now, the challenge involved in building this watchtower network essentially was how do we bootstrap supply? And the way we went about doing this, first of all, there is a technical challenge we were able to solve. There's a technical challenge, so for example, proof of location works without any need for additional hardware. You just need a machine that can do compute. Right? Apart from technical problems, bootstrapping supply, we don't have a token. Right? So bootstrapping supply is very critical. And we were able to utilize EigenLayer to bootstrap our supply on the security level. So we launched as an AVS on mainnet on EigenLayer as a launch partner. And currently we are the largest AVS there with more than $7 billion worth in crypto economic security. So that means that if any node in our DePIN has to lie about its attributes, they need to control more than $3.5 billion, which I think would be fairly impossible.
Yeah, no, and one thing that I think is very important is like, you see how complicated it is to build a DePIN project, right? Because there's so many more layers comparing to a lot of other projects. It's not just building the hardware, there's so many details, and if one of them doesn't work very well or break, the whole system is screwed, basically, right? So I think it's very important to have projects like Wawrzinek Chain helping those DePIN projects get to the next step. On the next question, it goes to Larry. Hey, Larry. Also, congratulations for IoTeX to releasing IoTeX 2.0. That was like a massive accomplishment. And on that note, what are the major improvements that happened from IoTeX 1 to 2? And what do you see IoTeX focusing on the next challenges?
Yeah, IoTeX 2.0 was kind of a new architecture for our platform that we announced last month. And like I mentioned, it takes a big focus on verifiability, composability, and more importantly, modularity, right? I like something you said. You said trust is the foundation for coordination. I think there's even a prerequisite to that where verifiability is the essence of trust. So I think a lot of us on this stage here talk about verifiability and the need for it, and we tackle it in different ways. And something you said, Daniel, I think is really important is that the DePIN value chain itself is composed of so many layers that no single company can build themselves, right? So that's why this whole modular approach to DePIN is so important. If we break down the value chain, you have the hardware devices, which are basically the workers for any DePIN. You have the connectivity layer that's doing the data in transit. You have the sequencer layer that's forming time series of data. You have DEA layers, storage layers, finally off-chain compute layers to turn this data from raw data into some type of proof of real-world activity. And then you have the blockchain layer, right? So all of these different layers cannot be built by any single company. I think IoTeX, we really focus on a few of those layers. Firstly, the blockchain layer, which we've been building since 2017. Also the hardware layer, we do a lot of things on the embedded side, working with trusted execution environments, secure elements, device identity, and we're really doing a lot of things on the verifiable compute side. IoTeX 2.0 introduces a lot of zero-knowledge proofs into the mix, so we can verify real-world activity and the utility coming from the devices. And IoTeX 2.0 also opens the door for people that are doing the sequencer layer, doing the DA layer, doing the long-term storage layer to integrate into our platform. So we partner with companies like Filecoin and Iris, Espresso for the sequencer side, and Near DA for the DA side. So yeah, it's really bringing together all the modules across the sector to provide the best-in-class experience for developers. And I hope in the future, like all of us on stage here, can put all of our best-in-class infrastructure together in a composable and interoperable way, because building in monoliths is definitely not the answer here. We got to work more horizontally to give builders what they need.
That's a nice answer. Yeah, definitely if you're trying to build something simple and easy, we're not going to be here today, right? And that also we wouldn't be trying to change the world for the better, I would say. So Kai, so for Impossible Cloud Network, or ICN, right? Where do you see your USP as a project? I see a lot of online, when you're researching, there's a lot of projects that use DePIN for this decentralized compute, storage, etc. What is the main USP that you guys are focusing on to tackle this market?
Yeah, so first of all, I completely agree with what Larry has said, but maybe we touch on these points a little bit later as well, like building ecosystems and essentially really enabling all DePIN projects, or a lot of DePIN projects, to work together towards solving these problems of DePIN verification and so forth. Regarding USPs about Impossible Cloud Network, so the main focus from our project from the beginning was really to solve the demand side. I think the Web3 world has done a tremendous job in solving a lot of things on the supply side. So if you think about this, by far the largest network in the world, the largest compute network in the world is Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is probably 100x, 1000x larger than anything that Microsoft, Google, Amazon have built together combined over the last 10 to 15 years. And if you imagine building these networks and on top you build enterprise software, usable software for end customers, you can tackle a multi-trillion market, right? And in a much better way, owned, programmed by many, secure, and vastly scalable. And that's what we focus on from the beginning. So really getting the demand side right. In order to make this happen, you really need a lot of scalability, performance, compliance, security. That needs to be built into the system from the beginning. Also, like in my past, what I mentioned before, like my previous company, we had around 500 million users all around the world, gamers. So we had low latency requirements, hundreds of millions of people playing all around the globe in real time. And if you transpose this into the requirements for enterprise software at scale, it's massive what you need. And if you don't implement this from the beginning, the scalability is going to lag. Right, and at the moment we already are operational with many hundreds of business customers. So for them it's like a super high performant Web 2 product, and they all run on Web3 hardware, right? So storage providers that are providing their hardware essentially. And I think this is really just the beginning of bringing mass adoption to Web3. And I think everybody is excited about this, that's going to happen. And I think it's just inevitable that Web3 is going to go massive. It's just like the inflection point right now. Probably today we are writing history, onboarding customers more and more to Web3 technology. And this is what we are building now already. For the end customer, the performance on our system is already faster than anything out there even on the Web 2 side. Scalability, you don't need to talk about this. And of course, it's much, much larger. And I think things will just from here just skyrocket.
Amazing, yeah, just give me goosebumps here. And yeah, man, we're definitely here to change the world, right? I think I said that before as well. One question that I would like to ask for everyone here, maybe starting with Leonard. What are the main challenges that you think about composability on blockchain and different DePIN projects, and how projects can solve that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I mean, what you said before, Larry, right? We need to have an openness and standards across Web3 so that DePINs, for example, use similar identity standards, be it DIDs. There's a great standard out there already, so that DePINs can really collaborate also across different ecosystems. And I mean, we have bridges such as Layer 0, Wormhole, which make it easy for tokens to be transferred, because in order to really achieve the Web3 vision, right, interoperability, composability is extremely important. And also that DePINs that build on the same network, right, use the same standards. This is also where we were coming from, is the machine, for example, that's added through like a electric vehicle that's added through a car sharing application is composable with a charging station that was added on a decentralized charging network. So they have the same identity, and even though they are different dApps and applications running on the blockchain, they use the same identity standard, and then there's a machine composability, which we like to call. And this is how you really enable a machine economy where anything can interact with anything. And yeah, this is
Awesome. And what about you?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I can only speak about our ecosystem, building like a holistic, decentralized cloud. I think the Web3 space has matured enough by now to be able to build ecosystems where a lot of participants can collaborate and build this in an interoperable way. What do I mean by this? Like, first of all, there's not only the DePIN projects that need to interoperate, but also like all the other participants that get incentivized with tokens and so forth. So the hardware providers that can like really plug into the system super easily. Also, any retail user that can invest into projects, pump this forward. Like in the DePIN space, also in our case, we'll launch Oracle nodes. It's like NFTs basically that you can buy in order to like participate in network. It's also related to the DePIN verification problem, solving that, so it's adding a lot of value to the network, but it's enabling every person on earth basically with very low effort to help and move the system forward. For other DePINs, it's like what we designed from the get-go. We said, okay, we need other DePIN projects to build this together, other services to build this together. And the interoperability is solved in a very easy way. We try to really abstract away the complexity, go with the most common protocols and systems and so forth from the beginning. But of course, there are still some APIs and interfaces that will be needed to be built over time, right? But this is a whole workforce that we have in our company that we focus a lot of time to. And we have already a lot of strategic partnerships in the Web3 space. And what we can offer, of course, I think, which is also kind of cool, is like make this interoperable with other DePIN projects, offering them a lot of market access tools, because ultimately I think all other DePIN projects, they need access to customers and customers, market access tooling and so forth, from IAM systems and all kinds of stuff like payment and so forth. And that's designed in a way that other DePIN projects can interact with it. Some interfaces still need to be built. But overall, I think the industry is maturing in a way where this is being solved.
Yeah, I think the interoperability challenge is very hard, right? Like, there's multiple layers or steps to making things interoperable. I think we're at step one right now, which is just getting these heterogeneous devices and systems to speak the same language, right? Different operating systems, different data formats, different this, different that. Creating these bridges that allow these devices and systems to speak the same language is step one. Step two is then, just because someone can speak the same language as you, doesn't mean you should trust what they're saying necessarily. So it goes back to the verifiability problem about how do we ensure that what is being said is also trusted and verifiable, right? So if if you can't really verify for yourself the output of another system, then interoperating them is not really worth it in the first place, right? And I think we're getting very excited in the DePIN sector today, building up a ton of supply, building up a ton of different verticals, but I think we need to slow down and think about how do we make things more verifiable in order to, be verifiable by design in a way. So we don't have to apply third-party like verification after the fact. If you're verifiable by design or verifiable by default, then we're going to be able to interoperate these systems much easier. But we're excited with the rapid growth of DePIN, right? But every now and then taking a pause, evaluating, are we doing things the correct way? Are we planning for the long term or capturing the short term value? I think is super important. But yeah, I echo what everyone else has said as well. It's a tricky challenge that we got to solve together.
Yeah, I think very well said that verification is core. There are 3 layers to this. You need interoperability on the physical layer, but that's already solved through standards, right? You know how a compute server can talk to storage. You need interoperability on the payment and smart contract side. And I think Web3, as you said, is quite mature enough that there are enough bridges to communicate back and forth. And that should be an inspiration of how we design the verification layer as well. In case of Web3, it's not like there is a common standard of interoperability. The fact that the systems are permissionless enables different bridges to implement their own tweaks when connecting one ledger to another. That avoids standardization because I don't think this industry can agree to one common standard. So as long as you make that layer permissionless, the payment was permissionless, so different bridges emerged and created their own standards. Whether that's superior to one standard, I don't think so. But can we achieve one standard? I don't think so either. So I think making it permissionless is the key. And same with verifiability. You need, the third layer is verifiability. And it has to be verifiable in such a way that anybody can participate in that verification. It has to be permissionless. And that's one of the core tenets of witnessing.
Nice, yeah, definitely a lot of work ahead, right? I don't think this is going to be just one language, but maybe you can have a decentralized Babelfish as well. Okay, we don't have a lot of time. I would like to do a quick question, a very short answer from everyone. Where do you see your project in 5 years, and why are you excited about that?
Happy to start. So 5 years, I think, is a good time horizon. So next year, really things start to, DePIN goes into production in many, many verticals. So I think in 5 years, there's going to be a tremendous amount of DePINs that have solved a lot of problems with significant traction building on peaq. And I would say the machine economy version 1 is going to be a reality. And we're super excited about it because of the things I said before, allowing everyone to participate in that value generation.
Yeah, so if you look into the space today, there are probably 2,500 DePIN projects. Market cap is beyond 70 billion, 75 billion, but the on-chain revenue today is just a mere 10, 15 million ARR. And in 5 years, I hope that what is market cap today will be exceeded in terms of revenue in the DePIN space. And I think we are set for this. I hope that our decentralized cloud ecosystem can play a significant role there with a lot of different participants. So other DePIN projects that provide additional services to customers, from object storage to any kind of GPU, CPU, computational, serverless, CDN services and so forth. Many talented people building on top, lots of DePIN projects integrating, and I think if that's done in a way where enterprise customer can use Web3 technology, then we will by far surpass what I've just mentioned in terms of revenue. The cloud market alone is a multi-trillion-dollar market, and I would like to really see in 5 years and beyond to kick the incumbents, the hyperscalers' asses, and really build some alternative that is much, much larger, and an open cloud becoming a commodity for everybody.
Yeah, I think 5 years is a long time. I think I want to say two things, right? 5 years ago, I started working in crypto at IoTeX, and right then, it was an interesting time because all of these layer ones were trying to figure out on-chain consensus. Everyone had their own consensus mechanism, whether it was proof of stake, proof of work, proof of authority, proof of space-time, proof of whatever, right? All these different ways to basically verify on-chain transactions in a scalable, decentralized, secure way. I hope in the next 5 years we can figure out off-chain consensus, which is if we can come to agreement on what happened in the real world and settle that on-chain, that's a huge unlock for every single DePIN out there. It's going to unlock a lot of demand, it's going to unlock a lot of use cases, so that's the first thing. I think the second thing I would really love to see is DePIN. We talked about composability, which is like parts of a system, parts of one system that work together. When I think about interoperability, that's like different systems working together, right? So I would love to see in 5 years DePIN working with DeFi, or DePIN being more integrated into real-world assets, or DePIN working more closely with prediction markets. And I think we have a lot to work. We have a lot of work to figure out within DePIN itself to make it solid, but the opportunities when you start to intersect these multi-trillion-dollar potential industries is another massive unlock. So those are my two.
You know, we are right now, we call ourselves kind of the observation layer. We can observe smart physical assets at this point. We can observe DePIN assets like compute, radios, and so on. In 5 years, I anticipate the density of witnesses to grow so high that you can trust observations from the smart assets so that you can determine, you can achieve consensus on off-chain dumb assets. It's a tough challenge, but that would enable something like, something like decentralized DoorDash or something, because they need verifiability of something which doesn't have a computer. And I think that's possible if you have high enough density of deployment.
We're gonna get there. And with that, I would like to thank you guys for joining the panel today. I think it was a pleasure, always a pleasure. And yeah, let's clap for everyone here. Let me try one thing, everybody here. Woo! Woo! When I say go, everybody say DePIN rocks, okay? 3, 2, 1, go! DePIN rocks! Woo! Nice, thank you.